So I just wanted to make like an additional kind of like take for today. And this is mainly just kind of based upon like what I did in my previous video, which for reference I talk about like revenue recognition within a concert tour type of business. So if you want to check it out in the link in bio if you're watching this on TikTok or if you're watching this on YouTube Shorts. Make sure to click the related video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate it. But essentially this is what my take is I feel like it's weird for people to act like music isn't like generational, not in the sense of where it's like transcending, but it's like everything is limited by like the generations and like eras. Like I feel like the first example is the fact is like we often would compare like sounds when it comes to music of older generations compared to currently. But if you were to look at it from like a perspective of like technology, it's like if you look at like this example photo I found, you would think, oh, this is like a starter setup. This is some of the best they've had back in those times. Which then you compare it to our stuff where it's like if you put any of the like the older generation of rappers into like this type of booth, they would do a lot of numbers. It would just be insane. And also the second reason why I kind of have this take is the fact that I always just felt like it's very weird when someone who was like very younger than like the artists they claim to be like the best or like the greatest is. So for example, like let's look at like imagine if you were to say something like for a kid to say that Andre 3000 is his favorite artist of all time, that would just be more strange. Maybe because the fact is like the only opportunity he would have to even heard of the name is off of a reference from Kendrick Lamar on like that. So it just doesn't make sense because anyone else who would listen to it would look at a kid and just think, okay, like he's giving respect. However, in the back of my mind, we all know is like you never really listen to him like that. Like forever for me, like my favorite artist has always been like people like Tyler the Creator because it's like he represents like the generation that like listen to him. To where it's a lot of like independence, being able to express yourself, and be able just to be like creative and the freedom to do what you want to do, and no one should be able to stop you from it. Like it makes sense for the generation for us to have those values. But like let's say like opposite of that, let's say if I were to say someone like Tupac was my favorite artist of all time, like the older generation would think, okay, I respect the fact that you're giving the older generation of artists like a listen to. However, it's like part of it is like I wouldn't understand it as clearly as they would because like they grew up during that time. I didn't. There's like a generational gap between it, and I feel like that's something that people don't really talk about as much. But yeah, but overall, how like music had different genres, and everyone has their own opinion for a genre. Music also is different from a generation to generation basis, and just like how we respect all genres, I feel like we should also just do the same for like generations, and that it is okay for people to have different opinions based upon different likes and taste.